Richard. After having passed through many small caves, through narrow tunnels, the guide said, "This is where you need to decide if you want to continue or not, since the passages get narrower and harder to get through." Now I really got uncomfortable and instinctively headed for the exit. But my eyes landed on Jack, who had just appeared in the room, and the trust I had grown for him made me ask, "Are you going to go?" "Yes," he said, totally relaxed and self-evident, as if it was the most natural thing in the world to do. "Oh shit, then I have to go too," I heard myself answer. I struggled with the decision, Richard to go or not, and felt fear build up when Jack looked at me and gently said, "Fear is only thought." It stopped Richard in his tracks. He said, "Tell me that again." "Richard," I said, "it can only be thought making you feel claustrophobic." Richard. My mind heard what he said, but my system didn't get it at all. So I asked him to say it again. He did. And I asked him to say it again and again, since my intellect went crazy. I asked Jack to say it 3 times in a row. He refined it each time. It started to sink in, and I finally asked him to whisper it in my ear. "Tell me once more," he said. "Whisper it in my ear." He cupped his hand over his ear and leaned toward my mouth. "Are you kidding?" I asked. "You really want me to say this again into your ear?" Richard. Jack asked if I was joking. I told him in a voice of someone in a plane about to crash, "I'm not joking. Seriously, please just say it another time." He accepted and with emphasis said, "Fear is thought. Fear is thought. Fear is only thought." I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was thinking something like, fear would not even exist if not for our own creation. We have this amazing gift of the power of thought to create anything, and sometimes we use it to create fear. Then we get seduced by consciousness, so it really makes us feel in every way as if it's the truth, that it's absolute reality. But it can't be. If these caves were causing the fear, everyone would be equally fearful. We believe it because our senses trick us into believing our thinking is true reality. But that's all it is. It can't be anything else. Richard. And he whispered right into my soul, "Fear is only thought." Because I was in a space of my intellect taking over. It went crazy. Because there is where fear is created. It is dependent on thinking about it, wherever it came from, whatever the thoughts I used to make up the fear, which is unconscious. So the fear is just running all over the place. You can't grasp it. So that's why I asked to repeat that, because the intellect could say, "Yeah, I understand, fear is just thought, yeah, I know." But my system didn't get it. I still felt the fear, so it didn't sink in. It didn't integrate. So when it whispered in my ear, I could feel my system hearing it beyond my thinking, beyond my intellect. Richard jumped up, figuratively, of course. Had he literally jumped up, he would have smashed his head on the cave ceiling. Something he heard gave him the strength to push through his fear. He said, "Okay, I'm going." Richard. The sound of Jack's voice resonated and supplied my inner system with the reassuring awareness that there is nothing out there to be afraid of. It's all created in my personal mind, just doing its job of thinking. I was sort of sinking down into another level of myself. It was more from the heart, where I knew there was only one thing to do, and that was to go in through the remaining holes. Do that which I was afraid of, or do it even though I was afraid. And that conviction came from heart level. And I only had one option, and I was totally free because I knew in my whole system what to do.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.